Oh, we know that most of the ignorant people aren't even going to watch all this video, so you won't even get to this part. But that's okay. All the people that got to this part of the video, thank you so much for watching.
Are you okay? I've seen all your struggles, I know about your pain.
Deadly Tarantula Girl coming to you from my little garden. So today's video is actually going to be a response video to a retake video that we published in the fall that got a ridiculous amount of hate. We basically had people coming on saying that we were mishandling the animals, that the enclosures were filthy, and then other people just acting totally nuts saying, threatening our lives and other online harassment. So today we were going to address that video while we showed just a few of the retics in our collection.
What I want to say is that you people out there in the world all have opinions, and that's perfectly okay. It is, however, not okay to voice an opinion when you know nothing about it. You have no idea how we keep our snakes, and for the most part, I don't care. I don't care what your opinion is. If you would like to speak to me about it, then talk to me face to face. I'm at enough shows where you can come up and say, hey, I don't like the way you're doing this, or hey, you mother effer, whatever you want to say, but don't sit behind a computer in your mom's basement and attack me. That's a bunch of crap. And the violence, I mean, we don't tolerate bullies. We don't tolerate bullying, and I certainly won't stand for it. There seems to be a lot of ignorance in the hobby, and most of it, from what we've been able to figure out, has come from the ball python community. For some reason, ball python people just think that they just are perfect in everything they do. However, most of your ball python people that are criticizing have had their ball python a total of maybe a year. I don't know. I don't know you people, but I would assume that you're pretty ignorant as far as how much experience you have. There seems to be a lot of Facebook people that just seem to think they're experts, and it really drives me nuts. I spent 10 years studying reticulated pythons, what they can do as far as bad situations that people got put in keeping retics, and it was 10 years before I decided that yes, I will pull the trigger and get it. Now, that was over 10 years ago, getting closer to 20 now. And I think I've learned a thing or two about retics. I don't know everything, and I never will know everything. The wonderful thing about retics is they're very intelligent, and if you're not constantly learning, you're really missing out on the care and keeping of these wonderful animals.
Another thing is very few of our retics are pet animals, or a few of them are educational ambassadors that are regularly handled, but for the most part the animals that we keep are left alone except for maintenance. And most of the content that you see online is very aesthetically pleasing staged content, where if you see an animal or you see an enclosure, often it's either brand new or it's just been cleaned and polished to the best of its possibility. We were doing actually a maintenance video showing difficult animals. So people saw an enclosure that, yes, needed to be cleaned after 1 week, which is a very reasonable time. We also were showing a difficult to handle retic, which we were using professional tools to handle. Tools that were made for handling large pythons, tools that cannot harm these animals, and we were using them in the way that they were intended. People were very upset by seeing messed up bedding, dirty water, and for some reason shed. If you don't know that snakes shed, then you probably have a little more learning to do. 2 of the animals in that video were in shed because our animals are fed on a schedule. And so the people who took issue with that as far as our care basically just have a whole lot more to learn.
It's most people that want to lay a criticism down don't know what they're talking about. I'm calling out all you people that just jumped on the bandwagon, and you all have crowd mentality. Once one of you says something negative, you can't just help but keep your mouth shut. Remember, your mother said if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So all you Facebookers, shut up.
So we just basically received a lot of threats and mostly ignorant comments. If you disagree with the details of how we keep our animals, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But the threats and things like that were just ridiculous.
And if all of you think that Justin Kobelka's ball pythons don't poop, you're wrong. And every once in a while they poop in the water. The reason that water was dirty is I did want to pull that out, but that snake wouldn't let me. I had to get the snake out before I could move the water dish. And I didn't really want you guys seeing that, but we were not doing that video to try to brag about how ornery our snake was. We wanted to educate people on how to safely move them. It seems like a lot of meth dealers also like to make snake hooks and tongs. I don't know why. It just seems to go hand in hand in my experience. So if you're using your meth dealer's snake hook or snake tongs, your animal might get hurt because that equipment is not professionally made. The stuff that we use is professionally made. We've been using it for over 30 years with 50 years of experience between the two of us. And so far, not a single animal has been hurt. Another thing to address about this is that I actually saw some Facebookers say that even though snakes are reproducing, they're not happy. What planet did you come from? The whole reason that you are here as a human being is to reproduce and continue the species. Same thing with these snakes, ball pythons, all of them. If you want a happy snake, you want it to show you it's happy, then it reproduces, which our animals do.
Yeah, these are actually from our clutches this year, both of these babies. There was another gentleman who contacted us and said respectfully, I'd like to buy your whole collection. And I said, well, they're not really for sale. And he said, name the price. And I did. And he said, I don't have that kind of money. So
I don't know if he was thinking that he was going to get the snakes for a song. And another thing I want to say about him is that he's a dwarf and super dwarf guy. Nothing against dwarf and super dwarfs. However, if you're going to offer somebody and you want their life's blood, again, 30 years of working with these, 30 years of studying and working with these animals, we're not going to just give them away. Why would you think that we'd give away a precious item? It's just not feasible.
And we had no reason to sell any of the snakes other than the animals that were already available for sale. So that was pretty laughable that someone basically called and said, I'll buy you out, and then said, well, I don't have the money.
The other thing about him is he said that he had been working with retics through the 80s. Maybe he lived a very magical life where he didn't run across any ornery retics, but this is the one thing about very intelligent animals. They actually have their own personalities. Some animals are sweethearts, and others are buttholes, just like Facebook people. In case you didn't know, I have no respect for the Facebook snake community. I actually heard a story where Justin Kobelka got kicked off of a ball python forum. That tells me everything I need to know. Facebook is not the place to go if you're looking for information.
Read some books.
Yeah, and get out of your mom's closet, basement once in a while. Get out there and talk to people, work with animals, and if you're going to have an opinion, form it over time with experience, not just looking at somebody else. That's very, very, it's just nasty. Okay, the next thing that needs to be addressed is I got a phone call from a friend. He's a ball python guy. He told me that him and Phil Goss thought that we shouldn't have put that video out, which really surprised me because Phil Goss is the guy that keeps our rights. He's fighting for him every day.
He's the attorney for U.S. Art.
Yes, and I wouldn't imagine that anybody speaks on his behalf, but I don't know the man. I've met him. And so maybe other people do speak for him. But this guy is a ball python guy. Yes, I know you want to go down there, but I don't want you to go down there.
You want to take it from your foot?
No, he's not on my foot.
Hey, I'm fine.
He claims that he has had a big retic, and from what I can tell, he got rid of that retic just as soon as he possibly could. It was just too much for him. He also has 2 stories to tell about how he's ended up in the ER from big snake bites. So why would I be taking his advice if his handling puts him in the ER? It doesn't make any sense.
I was just, in our history, we've never had a large python injury. We've never had large pythons injure each other, and we've never had an injury from large pythons that requires hospitalization or sutures or anything in all our years from anyone. I mean, we've all been bitten by snakes, as anyone who actually keeps snakes have been, but we have a very safe record of keeping. So why someone who had been injured multiple times requiring hospitalization would be giving us any type of advice is, well, kind of useless.
Well, another thing is that I'm not letting the snake crawl around my neck. It's long enough to where it could actually render me unconscious. And it's still perfectly content. It just wants to explore, which is a retic personality. Another thing that we seem to be getting a lot of grief from is the super dwarf and dwarf retic people. For some reason, they just hate the fact that there are other people dealing with purebred island forms, such as the Slayer, and they just want to be in control of that. But the reality is, that hobby, that part of the hobby, is mainly, why are you being so wild? Is mainly cockapoos and labradoodles. They are just working percentages of the island forms, and as far as I'm concerned, if you're a purist, then you should do 100% Kalatoa, 100% Slayer, 100% Madu, whatever you're going to do. And anything else is just a mutt. So, and we're perfectly fine with that. I mean, we breed.
If you want to do that, that's fine. But don't criticize what we're doing just because it's a little different. There are many different ways to do things. That doesn't make our way wrong. People saying that what we're doing is definitively wrong it was ignorant.
And it's unfortunate. You know, we all need to work together to keep our rights, and fighting amongst each other doesn't help. So now we have a girl that's very upset because we took her out of her cage, but as you can see, she's not looking to try to attack us. She just wants to go back into her home, so we'll try to make that as quick as possible. The last thing that we really need to address is Chuck E. Cheese. This ingrateful, ignorant, stupid mother just has no clue. When his mother told him he was special, it wasn't a compliment. This guy got on our video we were trying to interview one of the greats of the hobby, Kathy Love, and started posting nasty messages. Then I happened to catch a couple minutes of a video he did after that. And in the video, he's knocking us, telling us how terrible keepers we are.
He was being interviewed by someone about our video. Apparently he had started this whole witch hunt against us. And he started off the interview by saying, well, I didn't really watch it, but... and then went on to discuss it for an hour. Now, maybe you're not an interesting enough person that they would want to interview you except to speak about us, but it seems ridiculous to be invited onto a show to discuss something which you state quite clearly you know absolutely nothing about.
Another thing about this is, would you want your lawyer to come in if you were pleading a case? And he said, well, I didn't read your whole file, but I got a good idea. You're going to think that guy's the stupidest guy that ever lived, and that's how much I feel about Chuck E. Cheese.
It just proves incompetence.
In the video, I watched a couple minutes of it, he said that he wants to become the sheriff of retic keepers. Well, this guy can't even manage himself. How does he even think he's going to manage? He's just ignorant. He couldn't manage tomatoes at the grocery store. I mean, there's just nothing that he could manage. And I know that he goes to the NARBC, so hopefully he'll come up and talk to me about this. Anything less than apology is unacceptable, but I'm willing to talk to him. Stupidity like this needs to be cut off at the head. We need to get rid of it. PayPal, friends and family. This is something that is a total scam from companies. I've been on Facebook, I haven't been on Facebook. I went to Morph Market, and there's a lot of people that are requiring friends and family. I want people to understand that when they do friends and family with these businesses, they cannot get their money back, and PayPal charges them 3%. That 3% should come from the company. That's like going to a car dealership and paying $100 to buy a car. How does that make any sense? If you're a business and you want to sell an animal, then you sell it the right way. And
The burden of the merchant fee should be on the merchant, not the customer. Not to mention, that's fraud. Third of all, it doesn't protect the customers at all.
So it's wrong. That needs to pretty much go away. I don't understand how Morph Market allows it, but okay. But if I were a consumer and you saw that they required friends and family, I would pass on that animal. Other than that, we're sorry that this video had to be so negative, but it took me 4 months to calm down enough to where I was allowed to do this video, because when all that stuff started, I really wanted to come out and retaliate, and it wouldn't have been as nice as I am today. Oh, another thing, professional equipment. Anton, grab those grubbers. Now grab my wrist and squeeze it as hard as you possibly can. Just hurt me. Ow! Just kidding. Oh, I don't think I can take it. If I was a retic, this would be abuse. Come on, people. These things are designed to help, not hurt animals. This is professional equipment. You need to understand that.
All right, I think that was the conclusion of our python keeping witch hunt rebuttal. We're more than open to answering questions. If you guys have any, you can leave them in the comments. If you have stupid things to say, get lost.
Just
the rest
keep
of you
them
guys,
to yourself like your mother told you.
We love you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you for watching. Oh, we know that most of the ignorant people aren't even going to watch all this video, so you won't even get to this part. But that's okay. All the people that got to this part of the video, thank you so much for watching.